If you are a United States citizen, a green card holder, someone waiting for your immigration case to be approved, or simply a family member worried about a loved one going through the system, this video is for you. Over the past few days, you may have seen headlines circulating online, on social media, and even on some news websites, suggesting that Congress has quietly approved a new rule that affects all immigrants in the United States. When you see words like quietly approved and all immigrants in the same sentence, it is completely natural to feel a wave of concern wash over you. Your heart might beat a little faster. You might wonder if something is about to change for you or someone you love. I understand that feeling, and I want you to know that my goal today is not to scare you. My goal is the opposite. I am here to sit with you, explain what is actually happening, separate the facts from the fear, and help you walk away from this video feeling informed, calm, and prepared. My name is Michael, and I have been covering immigration news and policy updates for several years now. I do this because I believe that everyone deserves access to clear, honest, and simple explanations of the news that affects their lives. So let us take this journey together, step by step, with no panic and no confusion. Just the truth, explained in a way that makes sense. Before we go any further, I need to share something important with you. I am not an immigration attorney. I am not a government official. I do not work for USCIS or any federal agency. The information I share in this video is for educational purposes only. It is meant to help you understand news and policy updates in plain, simple language. However, every person's immigration situation is unique. If you have specific questions about your own case, your own status, or your own paperwork, please consult with a qualified immigration lawyer who can review your individual circumstances. What I offer here is clarity and context, not legal advice. Now, with that understanding in place, let us move forward together. So, what is actually going on with this news about Congress quietly approving a new rule affecting all immigrants? Let me start by explaining what this is really about, because the reality is often much less frightening than the headlines suggest. Congress, as you may know, regularly reviews, adjusts, and updates various rules and regulations related to immigration. This is a normal part of how the government works. Sometimes these updates are large and widely publicized. Other times, they are smaller technical adjustments that happen as part of larger bills or budget packages. When news outlets use the word quietly, they are often referring to changes that were included in broader legislation, passed without a separate standalone vote, or simply not covered extensively by mainstream media at the time. This does not mean the changes are secret or sneaky. It usually just means they did not receive the same level of public attention as other major news stories. The specific update that has been circulating in recent discussions involves adjustments to certain immigration enforcement priorities, documentation requirements, and processing guidelines. These are the kinds of changes that happen periodically as administrations shift, as courts issue rulings, and as agencies update their internal policies. Now, here is the key point I want you to hear clearly. When a headline says all immigrants are affected, that language is designed to grab your attention, and it works because of course you would want to know if something affects you. But in reality, most of these changes apply to very specific categories of cases, very specific situations, or very specific stages of the immigration process. The vast majority of green card holders, naturalized citizens, and people with pending applications will not see any direct impact on their daily lives from these updates. Let me break this down a little further so you can understand who might actually be affected and who almost certainly is not. If you are a naturalized United States citizen, meaning you went through the full citizenship process, took the oath, and received your certificate of naturalization, you are a citizen. These rule changes do not alter your status. You have the same rights and protections as any other American citizen. Your citizenship is not in jeopardy because of routine congressional updates. If you are a green card holder who has been living in the United States, paying your taxes, following the law, and maintaining your permanent resident status, these changes are unlikely to affect you in any meaningful way. Green card holders have strong legal protections, and those protections do not disappear because of policy adjustments. If you are someone with a pending application, whether you are waiting for a green card, waiting for citizenship, or waiting for a visa, I understand that any news about immigration changes can feel deeply personal. You might worry that the rules will change while you are waiting, or that your case will somehow be affected. Here is what I want you to understand. Changes to immigration policy typically apply to new applications or new cases filed after a certain date. They very rarely reach back and change the rules for applications already in progress, and even when they do, there are usually transition periods and guidelines to ensure fairness. So while it is always wise to stay informed, it is not helpful to panic about changes that may not apply to your situation at all. Now let me address some of the common myths and misunderstandings that tend to spread whenever there is news about immigration rules. One myth I see frequently is the idea that any congressional action means immediate deportations or immediate denial of applications. This is simply not how the system works. The United States immigration system, for all its complexities and frustrations, operates through a structured legal process. There are courts, there are appeals, there are evidence requirements, and there are timelines. Nothing happens overnight. Nothing happens without documentation. And nothing happens without giving people the opportunity to respond, explain, or seek legal help. Another myth is that making a small mistake on your paperwork years ago will suddenly come back to haunt you because of a new rule. Let me be very clear about this. There is an enormous difference between an honest mistake and intentional fraud. Forgetting a date, misspelling a name, or accidentally leaving a box blank is not the same as deliberately lying to immigration officials. The system recognizes this difference. Judges recognize this difference. Attorneys recognize this difference. If you made an honest error somewhere in your immigration history, that alone is not going to result in your status being revoked because of a policy update. Take a moment to breathe. I know this is a lot of information, and I know that when you are living in the immigration system, every piece of news can feel like it carries weight. But I want you to remember that you are not alone. Millions of people in the United States are going through similar experiences. Millions of people are waiting for paperwork, waiting for interviews, waiting for approvals. And the vast majority of those people will get through the process successfully, just as you will. Let me talk about some important distinctions that I think will help you feel more grounded. First, there is a significant difference between naturalized citizens and birth citizens, but that difference is not as dramatic as some headlines suggest. Both are citizens. Both have constitutional protections. The only meaningful difference is that naturalized citizens went through a legal process to obtain their citizenship, while birth citizens were born into it. In extremely rare cases, naturalization can be revoked if it was obtained through fraud or serious misrepresentation. But these cases are exceptionally rare. They require extensive legal proceedings, and they involve clear evidence of intentional wrongdoing. If you obtained your citizenship honestly and truthfully, you have nothing to worry about. Second, there is a difference between delays and denials. Many people in the immigration system right now are experiencing longer wait times than they expected. This can be incredibly stressful, especially when you are waiting months or even years to hear back about your case. But a delay is not a denial. Silence from USCIS is not a rejection. The agency is processing millions of cases, and backlogs exist across almost every category. If you have not heard anything about your case, it almost certainly means your application is still in the queue, waiting to be reviewed. It does not mean something is wrong. Third, For those of you with dual citizenship or ties to other countries, I want to address the concern about loyalty or divided allegiance. The United States allows dual citizenship. Having a passport from another country, maintaining property abroad, or visiting your country of origin does not make you disloyal. It does not put your American citizenship at risk. These are normal, legal, and accepted aspects of life for millions of Americans. Do not let fear-based headlines make you feel like your connections to your heritage are somehow problematic. They are not. Now let me offer some practical guidance for how to move forward in a healthy, informed way. First, stay informed, but choose your sources carefully. Not every website, not every social media post, and not every YouTube video has your best interests at heart. Look for information from official government sources like USCIS, the State Department, and reputable news organizations. Be skeptical of headlines that seem designed to scare you rather than inform you. Second, keep your documents organized and up to date. This is good advice regardless of what is happening in the news. Make sure you have copies of your important immigration documents, your green card, your naturalization certificate, your passport, and any correspondence from USCIS. Store these in a safe place and know where to find them if you ever need them. Third, if you have specific concerns about your individual case, consider consulting with a qualified immigration attorney. I know that legal help can be expensive, but many communities have nonprofit organizations that offer free or low-cost immigration legal services. An attorney who knows your specific situation can give you personalized guidance that no general news video can provide. What you should not do is panic. You should not make rushed decisions based on scary headlines. You should not assume the worst about your situation without evidence. And you should not spend your days and nights anxious about possibilities that may never affect you. Fear is exhausting. Worry is exhausting. And most of the things we worry about never actually happen. Let me give you some context about what is currently happening in the immigration system more broadly, because I think this will help you understand the bigger picture. Right now, USCIS is dealing with significant backlogs across many application categories. Processing times for green cards, citizenship applications, work permits, and travel documents are longer than they have been in years. This is frustrating, I know, but it is also important to understand that these delays are affecting everyone. They are not a sign that something is wrong with your specific case. They are a sign that the system is overwhelmed and working through a high volume of applications. If you have a pending case and you are waiting longer than the estimated processing time, you can check your case status online through the USCIS website. You can also submit a case inquiry if your case is outside normal processing times. These are the appropriate steps to take. What is not helpful is refreshing your status every hour, convincing yourself that delay means denial, or reading horror stories online about other people's cases. Every case is different. Your case is your case. For those of you who are seniors, and I know many of you watching are in your 60s or 70s, I want to speak to you directly for a moment. You have lived through so much. You have built lives, raised families, contributed to communities, and navigated the immigration system at a time when information was not as accessible as it is today. It is understandable that news about policy changes might feel threatening, especially if you went through the immigration process decades ago. But I want you to know that your status is secure. Your green card, your citizenship, your right to be here, these are not things that can be taken away because of a headline. The legal protections you have are real and meaningful. I also want to acknowledge the emotional weight of living in this system. Whether you are waiting for your own case, worrying about a spouse, a child, or a grandchild, or simply feeling anxious about the state of the world, your feelings are valid. It is okay to feel stressed. It is okay to feel frustrated. It is okay to wish things were simpler or faster or clearer. But please do not let that stress consume you. Take care of your health. Spend time with people who support you. And remember that worry does not change outcomes. What changes outcomes is staying informed, staying prepared, and taking appropriate action when action is actually needed. As we come to the end of this video, I want to summarize what we have covered today. Yes, Congress does periodically approve rules and updates that relate to immigration. This is a normal part of how the government functions. No, these changes do not typically affect all immigrants in dramatic or immediate ways. The headlines are designed to grab attention, but the reality is usually much more limited and specific. Most naturalized citizens, most green card holders, and most people with pending applications will not be directly impacted by routine policy adjustments. The United States immigration system operates through legal processes, courts, evidence, and time. It is not random, and it is not designed to suddenly upend the lives of people who have followed the rules. If you take away one thing from this video, let it be this: you are more secure than the headlines want you to believe. The system, for all its flaws, has structure, it has protections, it has safeguards, and you, as someone who is informed and aware, are already taking the right steps by educating yourself rather than simply reacting to fear. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I truly appreciate each and every one of you who watches these videos, leaves thoughtful comments, and shares this information with friends and family who might need it. If this video helped you feel more informed or more at ease, I would be grateful if you would consider staying connected with this channel for future updates. I will continue to bring you news and explanations in this same calm, clear, and honest way. And as always, if you have questions or thoughts, feel free to share them in the comments below. I read as many as I can, and I value hearing from you. Take good care of yourself. Take care of your family. And remember, you are not alone in this journey. There are millions of people just like you, and together we will stay informed, stay prepared, and stay hopeful. Until next time, wishing you peace, clarity, and confidence.